It is the Ender 3 Pro. There's a lot of tuning settings, and then also when you use the slicing app like Cura, you got to be able to adjust that because the printer isn't set from factory. You have to kind of tune it up a little bit. And there's also upgrades for these types of printers. You can get the metal gears versus the plastic one that comes stock. Upgrading your PTFE tubing, changing out these guys that are prone to pop out whenever you're printing, whenever the spool starts to try to feed into here and it's not hot enough. I also 3D printed a little fan to direct it over the PLA. These are my prints. I know his print didn't come out as good, but there's settings, like I said, you can do. Here's a red one that I made. That way I can do the actual 2-color spaceship. So that's what this is going to look like here. And that's what it'll be whenever it's actually done. But real quick, these are my settings. They don't work for everyone, but you can go to motion and then you go to velocity, and there should be certain values that go on the XYZ, and the XYZ is essentially as X, Y goes out, and then Z is up. So as it's building it, your X value goes across, your Y value goes out, and then your Z value goes up. So that's why you see that XYZ on there, and you got to know how to mess with those settings. Let me see if I can show some of my settings I have. So you go to filament that has the diameter. You got to make sure that diameter is correct, which is usually 1.75. And then steps is very important. So the steps you have to tune, and that these values here I actually tuned myself, and that is by doing the test. What you do is you take that, but you measure out 100 millimeters of filament. If you want, you can take the wheel off, it doesn't matter. And you measure it out starting with where it enters this little hole right here. You start there and then you measure out 100 millimeters. So then whenever you're actually doing your E-steps, you click on it and it's gonna feed it through. And whatever setting number is on the E-steps is how you determine how to tune it. So once the 100 millimeter line here goes through and stops on the line there, that is when your E-steps is tuned, and that helps get a better print. Sometimes what's going to happen is as you're tuning, you're going to see the 100 millimeter line stop here, or it might stop in here, or it actually may go into the actual extruder, or I'm sorry, the gear drive. That is when you want to remove steps. If it's not actually going into the I always forget what this thing's called because I don't really use it a lot, but it's a roller, I guess. If the E-steps are set too low and the line that you made stops here, then you just increase the E-steps by, I want to say about 50 or something like that, and then you'll see it travel in more. It's going to take a while to tune it, but once you do, you'll get very good quality prints. You won't have any issues. Like I said, with this is the cheaper plastic, but you can tell the quality of this guy is a very nice print. I have no issues with it. There's not too much burning, it's not too much heat. You also have to remember to set your heat for your PLA. You can do that on Cura, but you do want to do your temperature for PLA, which is what I already have, and that is my setting there. The fan speed is at 255, the nozzle is 210, and the bed is 65. So your bed will be heated to 65 to make this guy stick to the actual bed. Your extruder is going to be set to 210, which is a really good temperature for PLA, but you do have to remember it depends on what type of PLA you have. If you have a cheaper PLA, it may actually be too hot. If you have a good quality PLA like I do here, this one will require 210 or 220, something like that. You have to fine tune it, but once you do get it, everything will be printed out very nicely, and it'll be much easier to make quality prints when it comes time for it. I have a couple more little things I can show you that I've printed. with the nice tuning function, once you get it all good, the prints will come out very nicely. Like this nose cone right here is very small, but it is really good quality. Look at that circles there. It's not overlapping, it's not melted. You don't see any stringing of the filament going in between, and there's very tight lines on this guy. So like I said, Amazon Basics PLA Plus is a really good filament to start with. It's a little forgiving and it's pretty strong.